All right, welcome back to Golf Subpar. Colt, Knost, and Drew Stoltz. First off, let's start out. Big shout out to our newest partnership with Fanatics Sportsbook. We had a rather nice week over at the Fanatics Sportsbook sleeves. We'll get to that in a little bit. But when you bet, you win or you lose. But with Fan Cash, that's not exactly true anymore. With Fanatics Sportsbook, you earn Fan Cash back on each bet, win or lose. Fan Cash unlocks the world of Fanatics. Flip it into bonus bets, new team apparel on Fanatics.com, and so much more. Download the Fanatics Sportsbook app and start earning Fan Cash today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut residents call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts residents call 800-327-5050. New York residents call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland residents visit mdgamblinghelp.org. And we got a lot of giveaways that are going to be happening this year. One special one coming up in April, which we will get to.
Opportunity for someone, you might say.
But a lot of fun. Make sure you download the Fanatics Sportsbook app. Join in, follow us along on some of our plays, which I hope you did this past week. Like I said, we'll get to that.
If you bet Steven Yeager, you're not texting any of these numbers.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Shout out Steven Yeager for the incredible play down in Mexico. But he was not the man of the hour. The man of the hour, Brian Campbell, which I'm sure was on a lot of people's radar heading into the Mexico Open at Vedanta World. 220-1 to win, and he ends up winning in a playoff over Aldrich Potgieter, the long-hitting South African. Pretty cool story, though. We had the longest hitter on the PGA Tour this year and the shortest hitter on the PGA Tour this year in a playoff against each other.
Yeah, on a hole that you would think like this, there couldn't be a bigger advantage for Potgieter than just playing a par 5 over and over. But you'd be wrong in assuming that. But to see the longest versus the shortest, it was awesome. It's hard not to be pulling for the short hitter just because I'm like, he looks like a regular human and Potgieter's hitting at speeds that, we can't even fathom. But, I mean, quite frankly, I never thought, once I went to the playoff, I was like, Potgieter's going to hit some sort of iron on the green. Are you going to birdie this hole every time they play it until Brian Campbell doesn't? And I was wrong. A little assist on the second playoff hole, and by a little assist, I mean just a life-changing bounce from the middle of the jungle back into play, which he then converted. It wasn't over after that, obviously. He made tweet, and Potgieter didn't.
Yeah, Potgieter, 6-iron into 18 in the playoff both times. Hit a massive pull hook. He blamed a little mud on the first one. The second one, he flagged it. Came up a yard short, ended up in the bunker, didn't get up and down. And Brian Campbell with a life-changing win. I mean, this is a guy who has played 186 combined starts between the PGA Tour and Korn Ferry Tour, had his card on the PGA Tour in 2017, made 7 of 20 cuts. The most notable thing he did that year was got a slow play penalty with Miguel Angel Carballo at the Zurich Classic, the team event down there. Got put on the clock, got a bad time, and they actually got a one-shot penalty, which doesn't happen very often. But he has been a grinder, had 3 runner-ups on the Korn Ferry Tour last year to finish number 8 on the points list out there. Never had a top 10, but he now has a win on the PGA Tour. Like I said, life-changing. $1.4 million combined in his career between both tours. Made $1.26 on Sunday down in Mexico.
Not to mention 2-year exemption, Masters, all the stuff, job security for the first time in a long time. I don't know if he's going to go on to win another time on the PGA Tour, a bunch more times, never again. But like this is kind of the stories that we're not going to see as much of going forward when we shrink it down to 100 cards. You're not going to have guys like that in tournaments, much less winning the thing. So shout out to him. And then Aldrich Potgieter's got to feel like he let one get away. But given that he's been in contention twice this early as a 20-year-old on the PGA Tour, pretty sure it won't be the last time we'll be seeing him.
Yeah, he's a freak, man. Just got to tighten up a few things. He's very raw. I followed him on the final round of the Farmers Insurance Open, which was on a Saturday. But watching him play that day, obviously the power is just ridiculous. He is the longest hitter in professional golf. The short game is just not there right now. That's something he's got to tighten up. He's got the crazy, strong left-handed grip, but he'll get better. Is he destined to be a superstar? I don't know. A lot of people are saying he is. I think they just get enamored with that distance off the tee. But there's just so much more to the game. The putter kept him in it. I mean, for a big guy to make the putts he did, he played terrible on Sunday. Let's be honest. He
shot level par. I mean, he was 16 under through 2 rounds, just cruising. And I mean, he shot level the last day. Anything under par wins the golf tournament.
I mean, he made 3 putts over 15 feet and shot even par, and 2 of them were for par and 1 of them was for bogey. So it was a pretty ugly round. But like I said, only 20 years old, hasn't been in that spot a lot. He'll learn from it. With that distance, there's no telling what he could do. It would have been awesome to see him get the win and tee it up at Augusta and see what he could do at that place. But instead, Brian Campbell, the shortest hitter on the PGA Tour, will be heading down Magnolia Lane.
How about it? Stand up, Brian. If there's a golf course that sets up well for that, it's Augusta.
Yep.
So start working on those hybrids.
But congratulations,
maybe a little
man.
Gary lesson.
Yeah, we said going in, someone's life could change this week.
It did.
And Brian Campbell's did. Probably, I'm guessing not many people picked him to win. But fields like that, when it's not that strong, I mean, your highest ranked player in the world was 29th, and that was Aaron Rai. You go down there, you have a chance to do something. And now he's, like you said, major championships, 5 signature events the rest of the year. I mean, that's just guaranteed money. Really cool. I thought the camera on his girlfriend, I mean, she dropped to her knees and was so emotional when he made that putt to win. I mean, she's been there through the whole journey. Life on the Korn Ferry Tour, listen, people, it's a great tour. The young kids are very excited to be there, but it's a grind. And you don't make money like you do on the PGA Tour. You don't get to live the life you do on the PGA Tour. And it was a life changer, man. I'm pumped for him. That was cool. Those stories, like you said, those stories don't happen a lot. Well, Sleaze, it's time to get zoned in this week with our friends over at Zone Nicotine. And no one was more zoned in than Brian Campbell in that beautiful tree that was located out of bounds down the right side at Vedanta.
The tree might have been the most zoned in. Brian Campbell somewhat zoned in, sent the ball into the hands of the tree. Tree said, I don't need you. Spit it out. Changed his whole life. Thanks for the money, the job security. Thanks for the Masters. All the stuff going forward. Big moment for trees this week.
Yeah, we got all the bridges at Augusta National named after legends. I believe that tree that is located just out of bounds down the 18th at Vedanta should be the Brian Campbell tree.
The Campbell tree. Yeah, just out of bounds. Flew into the top of that thing, too.
Unbelievable bounce. And shout out to him and his caddy for going and respecting the tree afterwards. I believe Brian had himself a cold one, and his caddy had a nice little glass of rosé, it looked like, and they gave a little cheers to the tree. Said, thank you very much.
Yeah, got to pay respects to that. Just changes your entire life. So, shout out to him and the tree. Zoned in.
All right. Also, make sure you head over to our YouTube page. You can still watch our quick sandrails video where we were in the buggies with Kyle Busch getting thrown all around the sand dunes just outside of Las Vegas there. I mean, that was so much fun.
Yeah, just sweating out a lot of toxins, freaking out, white knuckling that little bar that was on the thing. Good one-time experience for the kid.
A lot of fun. All right. Let's see if we can stay hot. We both gave you some winners last week. Both took Steven Yeager. I took him to top 10. You took him to top 20. Well, they both won. But mine paid out just a little more. And for the season-long total, we're betting $100 on every single play. And I'm up $370 for the year. You're down $50.
Nothing in it. Early. Right. Haven't even hit major season.
All right. Well, it's time for the Cognizant Classic down PGA National.
Just the most devastating piece of golf property on the planet.
This place is so hard.
You make double on every hole? Cool, play here.
I mean, there's water everywhere. You got the bear trap. It is a monster golf course. Very stressful golf course.
Hopefully they get some wind.
Yeah.
And it gets nasty. That's fun.
4-inch rough and 30-mile-an-hour winds, please.
Should I bail over here in the water? Should I bail over here in the water?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's get to our bets this week. I'm sticking with this top 10. I like the top 10 bets over at Fanatic Sportsbook. This guy, he's actually the favorite to win the golf tournament. He has 3 straight top 10s around PGA National. He's one of my favorite players on the PGA Tour, and you can get him at plus 250 to top 10. My man Shane Lowry.
Yeah, great track record around there. The favorite. Another person I liked going into this week, but we had the same player last week. Can't be doing that again. Shout out to you, top 10. I took top 20, but I had to get off the schneid. I needed to put one in the bank, which I did. Moving on to this week, I'm going top 10 finish for Daniel Berger. That gets you plus 330, by the way. Back playing really good golf. Second at Phoenix. 12th at Torrey. Been great at PGA National. Had a huge lead just a couple years ago where it didn't work out for him, but also just plays really well in Florida in general. I'll take Boog Knight. Plus 330, top 10.
Lives right down the road. The year he had the lead, ended up losing in a playoff. Do you know who it was to?
Go. Who?
Padraig Harrington.
Oh, there you go. Patty.
All right. Well, make sure you go download the Fanatics Sportsbook app and follow us along all season long. We're going to have a lot of great giveaways for y'all throughout the season and hopefully make y'all some money.
All right. Before we get to our interview, good news for all listeners. Our friends at Shipsticks are back. The only way to travel with your golf clubs. Colt, this just reinforced it the other day. I had a good friend from Denver coming down. One night, 2 days in Scottsdale. 36 holes, 18. He's going to fly home. Okay? Takes off, lands, Goes a baggage claim. No clubs, no nothing. They don't show up until the following day when he'd already finished all of his round, had to come out here, played 54 holes, rental clubs, trip ruined, and the mistake will never be made again. Shipsticks going forward, period.
Yeah,
End
I
of
just
story.
took a trip out to California, was in the Pebble Beach area, shipped them out there, shipped them home, no problems at all.
Yep, once you use it, you'll never not use it again. And right now, Shipsticks is offering our listeners 20% off your first shipment when you go to shipsticks.com and use the code SUBPAR20. Go to shipsticks.com, use the code SUBPAR20 to get 20% off your first shipment and save yourself the hassle this golf season. That's shipsticks.com. Make sure you use the code SUBPAR20 so they know we sent you.
All right. Well, our guest this week, he's starting to ship it off the tee. The man has picked up a lot of distance, and he's one of the best putters in the world. Denny McCarthy joins us on Golf Subpar.
All right, we got a man joining us today who is lethal when it comes to rolling the rock and shooting the rock. He's from the home of crab cakes and football, but he's 38th ranked golfer on the planet. Denny McCarthy, welcome aboard, live from Starbucks.
Live from Starbucks. Yeah, it's some technical difficulties this morning, but I've been looking forward to talking with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining. First off, what's your Starbucks order?
I'm not really a Starbucks guy, honestly. They put a lot of. I'm definitely not promoting Starbucks. Right outside their door here. They put a lot of, I don't know, garbage in their coffee. I'm not a huge. I like cold brew, like a good cold brew. Starbucks doesn't really do it for me, though. Sorry, Starbucks.
I'm using your Wi-Fi. Starbucks sponsorship, by the way.
I'm using your Wi-Fi, but your coffee sucks. Perfect.
Yep.
Thanks. Well, first off, we're doing this right after coming off a really nice week at the Genesis Invitational back out at Torrey Pines. A golf course that normally I would say wouldn't suit you the greatest, but you and I were talking when we were out there last week. I mean, you're a much different player. You haven't played there in 4 years. But what was it about Torrey Pines last week that all of a sudden matched up with your game?
I don't know. It's funny. It's like, yeah, I hadn't played there in 4 years, but I showed up on property and I really liked the course. I felt like I had good vibes. I played well in Phoenix. I didn't finish as well as I felt like I should have. But I played really nice golf in Phoenix, which I don't think that golf course is that easy when they firm up those greens. So my game was feeling good going into it. I kind of just embraced, like, we had nasty weather, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I played an 18-hole Pro-Am Wednesday afternoon, and it was one of the most miserable rounds I've played weather-wise. And then it was nasty again Thursday, but I feel like the Wednesday 18-hole Pro-Am really prepared me for Thursday. Kind of just went out with a good attitude, played freely, played a nice round, and then just kind of continued that the rest of the week. Yeah,
I heard the guys were really excited that it was an 18-hole Pro-Am that week.
Yeah, the plus of it, like I just said, is like if it wasn't the same weather conditions the next day, like same wind, same windy, misty, nasty, cold conditions, it would have really sucked. But the positive is that it was a very similar day the next day, and I basically just hit all the shots in that ugly, gross weather the day before. So I knew what to expect on Thursday.
How about for the AMs that paid a shitload to go play with those guys, and then it's just the most miserable day of all time.
And the rough's 6 inches long.
Yeah, and they shoot 2,000 at Torrey. Yeah.
Rough was gross, and they left some of the tees back in the Pro-Am. They didn't move anything up, and so there was some, like, I hit 5 wood short of the green on number 5. Like, number 5 was brutal.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I bet the AMs had to be loving it. We're gonna get to your speed because Colt said you're a different player than you are, but I got a question that kind of relates to that because you look at some of your best finishes on the PGA Tour. You haven't been historically the longest guy, but yet Muirfield, big golf course, lost in a playoff. TPC San Antonio, big golf course, lost in a playoff. You just mentioned Torrey. Like, you seem to play really well you played nice at Quail last year. I remember a week when I talked to you and you weren't too high on your odds going into that week. You play good on big golf courses.
Yeah, I think I feel like I can play well anywhere, but obviously I guess I gotta. Well, first of all, I guess I'm gonna have to add Farmers next year. I haven't played in 4 years, but I think I'm gonna have to add that. I guess really hard golf courses just kind of suit my style. I think it's when it hangs around even par more, obviously you're still going to have to shoot a couple under par here and there in a couple of those rounds. But I think when it hangs around even par, that U.S. Open style test, for whatever reason, I play some really good golf in those kind of conditions where you don't necessarily have to be perfect and stuff a 7 or 8 iron, but putting it on the green, hitting it to 25 feet is a great shot. If you get too aggressive, it can bite you. And I know how to manage my game really well, where, I'm not flag hunting a lot of the times on these hard golf courses with a 6 or 7 iron. I'm putting it in the middle of the green, giving myself a look, plodding along and missing those, mid to long irons in the right spot where I can get up and down and move on, and then take my chances on par fives, or if I have a short iron or wedge in my hand, take advantage when I get those opportunities.
Yeah, when you roll the rock the way you do, it also helps. But I want to talk. You've been out there for a long time. 194 PGA Tour events. Saturday during the third round, I'm with your group. You're playing alongside Rory McIlroy. And look, you're the 38th player in the world. You can play some golf. But what do you, even today, do you still get a little extra amped up or maybe a little nervous playing alongside a guy like Rory?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think it's a good nervousness. It gets me up for the round more. I've played with Rory probably 3 or 4 times now, and I've played pretty well with him almost every time I've played with him. I played with him in the match play.
Holy birds.
And gave him a...
Is that a pterodactyl?
What's that?
Was there a pterodactyl flying over Jupiter?
No.
Oh, okay.
I played with him in the match play, gave him a good match. Played with him in the third round of San Antonio last year. It's like I know he's going to play well, and so I want to match his intensity level. We had a lot of people following our group Saturday. It was just I enjoyed being part of that atmosphere, being part of a big crowd, and trying to show off a little bit.
And you took it to him on Saturday as well. Played your way right into the final group.
Yeah, I played really well on Saturday. I mean, I shot 1 under. They set it up pretty difficult that day with the winds. They set up the par threes really difficult. I didn't really, obviously Rory didn't really make much. I didn't make much either, but I feel like I played really well. I gave myself a lot of good chances that day. Went on a nice little run in the middle of the round, and then kind of a couple of hiccups with bogeys, but played the closing stretch really well, where I gave myself some good looks with 4 irons in my hand on 15, 16. I gave myself good birdie looks. Really just a few putts away on the weekend from having a really good week, but really pleased with where my ball striking is. My driving's come a long way in just a short amount of time here in the last couple months. So game feels pretty good. I like where it's at.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I was impressed with at Torrey, because I keep tabs on it a little bit, but I saw you get ball speed up to 174, 175 at times, which Torrey Pines also, and it wasn't hot at that time. That's moving it for you. And I was just curious, is this a conscious decision you made to try to gain speed and hit it out there a little bit further? And how important is that to you going forward to continue to do that?
It wasn't conscious to okay, I'm going to try and pick up speed. It was more so to get my body healthy. I've learned a lot of things, and I've done a lot of things lately to try and help my body move more efficiently, basically. My coach and I saw Greg Rose at TPI in the winter, in the off season. I've been working with the guy at home who's been in communication with my physios on the road, things to look at and work on. So it's been kind of a whole team effort to kind of get my body healthy and moving efficiently. And that's translated over into, moving my body a little better in the golf swing, which has translated into a little more speed. If you would have asked me a couple months ago if I was going to touch 175 ball speed and, at Torrey Pines, 55, 60 degree weather, I would have said no chance. But I'm excited for the warm weather now. That 75 could go up to 77, 8, which is exciting for me.
Yeah, that's fast. You mentioned TPI because for people that have never had the chance to go there, the place is unbelievable. They measure everything. like with what your body does throughout the golf swing, what were some of the things that you noticed when you went there that, oh, I need to get better at this area?
Yeah, they throw a lot of information at you. Luckily, I had my coach there who's really smart. Him and Greg Rose kind of talk a similar language, and I don't really talk that language. So it was more so you need more of this feel in the backswing. So I'm very feel oriented. So them kind of dumbing it down and translating, okay, you just need to feel more of this in the backswing. I went on the force plates. I was generating a lot of force, but my speed wasn't that high. So then I got on the 3D. I was losing some of that energy somewhere throughout the swing. For my height, size, weight, I was generating a lot of force, but I was generating it too late in the swing. I was drifting left too long. I needed to kind of push up and back sooner, essentially. But that also, it's on the downswing, but that started with the backswing. I was kind of hyperextending a little bit, or I was kind of tilting my back towards the target. I was not being very efficient. So just kind of posture, setup, poor engagement stuff in the backswing has really set up that kind of transition power move in the downswing.
So you're not necessarily working on any like quote unquote speed training. You're not doing like stack or things like that. You're just trying to make your body work more efficiently, which then results in faster club head speed.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, before we get back to our interview with Denny McCarthy, today's episode is brought to you by Nutrafol. Your hair is so much more than what you see when you look in a mirror. From stress and nutrition to hormones to lifestyle, so many internal factors affect what you see on the outside. With Nutrafol's science-backed whole-body approach, nourish growth from within and achieve your best hair yet. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. Physician-formulated with 100% drug-free ingredients, Nutrafol supports healthy hair growth from within by targeting key root causes of thinning, stress, hormones, aging, nutrition, lifestyle, and metabolism through whole-body health. Building a hair growth routine is simple. Purchase online, no prescription required. Automated deliveries and free shipping keep you on track. Plus, with a Nutrafol subscription, you can save up to 20% and you'll have access to the free naturopathic doctor consults, and a Headspace meditation membership is included. Start your hair growth journey with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code SUBPAR. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code SUBPAR. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code SUBPAR. Now back to Denny McCarthy. Did you do the vertical leap? Do they still do the vertical leap at TPI?
Yeah, it wasn't.
What do you got?
It wasn't very high. I remember Greg. I think Joel Damon had just been there before me.
Yes.
And,
yes.
And his jump wasn't very high. And I remember jumping a couple times, and Greg was like, "Here's the good news. You're just barely higher than Joel Damon." And I was like, "Sick. That's great." But it wasn't a very high jump. I don't know what the number was, but it wasn't very high.
I thought with your basketball background, you might have some hops.
You might have some springs.
I mean, I wasn't, driving inside and dunking over people. I was camped out along the 3-point line.
Smart.
And smart. 5'8", can't really jump that high. I stayed out of the lane.
That's fair. That's fair.
Wise. I would be very curious though to know Joel's vert. Are we in the 20s?
No, I don't think so. I think both
teens.
of our numbers were slightly below 20 now that you throw that number out. I want to say we were like 18, 19 ballpark.
Okay.
And then you see
small ballpark.
You see these NBA guys that have like 46-inch verticals.
Oh, dude, we got like D linemen now that are 42.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Mac McClung's got some serious hops.
Oh my God.
He's from fairly close to you, isn't he? Isn't he a West Virginia kid?
I think so. Yeah, I believe he went to Georgetown. Right? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Did he transfer from Texas Tech to Georgetown or something like that?
The other way, yeah. Georgetown to
Other
Texas
way.
Tech, yeah.
Other way.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he had won it 3 times in a row. I didn't realize, and all of a sudden he's just winning it again. Done jumping over cars, jumping over people.
Never misses dunks.
And I believe,
that's the most impressive thing, and that's what that's what's awesome. I didn't even realize like the NBA dunk contest was on. I remember just like getting dinner one night back from Torrey. I'm like, oh, the NBA the dunk contest is on tonight. I had no idea.
I believe
tuned in and he's just jumping over cars.
Yeah.
Sleaze told me he's made more in the dunk contest than he has in the NBA.
Yeah, dude. How about this? Career earnings playing basketball. This is ballpark. It's like $135,000. Career earnings in the dunk contest. Like apparently you win like a little over $100,000 if you win. He's won like 330 or something.
That's insane because he's not really on an NBA team, right? Is he on a G League team?
Yeah, G League for the Magic. I don't know why they don't just call him in for friggin' cleanup time. I don't think the Magic are selling out their arena. They can let the kid come in for a few minutes and smash.
That's producer Mark's team.
You know what I mean?
Be careful.
Well, it's tough time.
He's kind of saved the dunk contest, and he's not even in the NBA. Like, hey, we know you're not in the NBA, but can you come boost our ratings up for the dunk contest again?
Yeah, exactly. We'll stay on want to stay on hoops for a second. I did not know, much like the rest of the world, I think, that you were the best kept secret in terms of basketball on the PGA Tour until that video. What was it? 2 years ago at Ohio State. Is that where it came out? And the 3-point shooting?
There was one. I did something with the Wizards, and then there was another one at Ohio State that we did a 3-point contest that Harris English lined up.
Yeah, I feel like you were disrespected. No one, Gary gets brought up, Tony gets brought up, who are some of the other guys? Never Denny McCarthy, but now it's well known.
I can shoot a ball. I can shoot a ball. Like I said, I'm not really going in the lane. I'm not really playing much pickup. I did a few times at UVA. Me and some of the kids on the team would go shoot some hoops, and then we'd get dragged into a pickup game, and I'd try and take it lightly, and then we start losing, and then I start taking a pickup game way too seriously. And I'd like leave him like, man, that was such a bad idea that I just played that much pickup that seriously. So if my college coach is listening, I'm sorry, but I didn't get hurt, so it was all fine. But probably not the best idea.
Not the best prep for golf, but I will say Gary Woodland obviously gets all the talk when it comes to basketball because he played college basketball before going to Kansas. But your man Ben Coles told me he would put his house on the line in a 3-point shooting contest, you versus Gary Woodland. Would Ben be homeless, or would he get a bigger house?
I didn't know he did that. I've never seen Gary shoot. Gary saw the videos of me, and he was like, "Yeah, that's a cute little push shot you got there." So Gary was giving me some shit about my shot, but all I was seeing was the ball going in. So. I would love to play. He's thrown a few jabs at me. I'd love to take Gary on in a 3-point contest. I'm not going to take him on in a one-on-one battle. I know I'm smarter than that. But I think I could take him in a 3-point contest. We'll have to line that up.
Yes.
We have exclusive rights to this, by the way. Let it be known. We will be airing the McCarthy Woodland 3-point shootout at some point in the near future. At a gymnasium near you.
I'm in on that.
I'm in. I'm in too. I actually shot some hoops in Phoenix Tuesday morning. I kind of came off Pebble frustrated, and sometimes going around shooting hoops is kind of like it's like a playground, a little bit of a release for me to go have some fun. And this place had like an NBA 3-point line, and I was like a kid in a candy store. I was just jacking up shots. I didn't even want to go to the golf course after. I could have stayed there all day.
Love that.
But it's good mojo. For me, it helps, like, okay, like if I'm struggling scoring the ball or if I'm struggling with anything, like it's just a good, like, I don't question anything after I miss a shot. Like I just get it and shoot it again. Like I just react and go and shoot it again. And I feel like it can translate over into, playing a golf tournament a little bit. So it's a good way for me to get away from the golf course, but still have some fun.
I like that. Let's talk about something else you're really good at. I know you talk about it a lot, but I want to hear all about it too. You're putting. I mean, you've been if not the best, one of the best at it for a number of years now. I want to ask you this because I asked this to all the guys I consider great putters. Is putting something you have to put a lot of time? Are you great because you practice hard and you spend a ton of time on it, or is it just something you show up and you're like, dude, I can just putt?
You were born with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I was born with it because I had some junior and amateur rounds where I really struggled. It's something I put a lot of time into early as a professional. Just trying to find my own way, my own process, what works best for me. This year's kind of been a weird year. It's like I really struggled at Century and then had a good putting week at Sony. I've kind of been hot and cold. Even from one round to another, I could gain 3.5 one round, and the next round I lose a shot and a half. It's been a little weird so far. I don't feel like I'm putting bad. I'm just not quite seeing them right. I feel like the tour has put some tough hole locations where the breaks are tricky to read around the hole. But yeah, it's like if it gets off, I'll put an hour session in and kind of retrain my eyes a little bit. But a lot of it to me is like game time. It's hard for me to simulate, practice on the putting green, what it feels like in the tournament. It's like I'll come up with some games with Derek, my caddy, and maybe play some putting contests with other players to kind of get those juices going. But it's a lot of it for me is just seeing the greens, like game time situations, like picking spots, seeing the greens. To me, it's like, okay, I'm aimed too high. This is the spot that I've picked, but now it feels high when I get up over it. I'm going to aim just a little lower. Oh, that's a little too low. I'm just going to kind of go back and just find what feels right to me, and just try and use my instincts as much as I can. I've learned aim point. I understand it, and I do use it every now and then if I'm really struggling to commit to something. I'm not obsessed with it. I use it as a tool if I'm struggling to see how much break there is there, and I'll toss my feet in and be like, oh, okay, there's more break than I'm seeing. I'm not obsessed with it, but I do think it's helpful. If I'm not seeing the break, it helps me commit to something a little more sometimes.
Yeah, I love the way you go about your putting. I was talking to Paul Vizanko from Scotty Cameron actually about it, and he said you treat it a lot like a free throw. You get in there, you react, you feel a lot in your feet, which I love. That's the way I putted. But if you were going to give a tip to all of our amateurs that are listening right now, the number one putting tip, what's the one thing they should focus on the most?
I'd say pick something close by to aim at and focus on that. Something close by, not near the hole, something that you can track closer to you, and use whatever that is. I'm not very mechanical, so I'm not going to throw out a mechanical tip. I'm just going to say visualize the arc around that spot, essentially. And I like it typically to be closer to me than the hole. It's easier for me to aim at something closer to me than farther away. It's worked really well for me. It should work well for a lot of people, but some people don't see things the same as me. So, but I would say use something close to you to aim at and track the arc around that.
That's funny you say that because that's the same way I putt. I'm like, it's much easier to line up something 2 feet in front of you than 25 feet away. And I caddied for Taylor Montgomery last year at Phoenix, and he had me read every putt. And I was like, hey, it needs to roll just left of this ball mark. And he's like, okay, so is that like 2 cups? I'm like, I don't know. I just know it needs to roll left of that ball mark. That's 2 feet in front of you.
He's a great, He's a great putter too. I've played with him a couple of times. He can roll the rock.
Yes,
sure.
He can.
But it's funny how he's a great putter. He sees it. He sees it totally different.
For sure.
Which is, there's no one way to skin a cat. There's multiple ways to do it. You just kind of got to find the way that works best for you.
Yeah, that's what makes putting so beautiful. I'm always fascinated to talk to good putters because everyone seems to have a different way they go about it. But how often are players coming to you at tournaments and asking for putting advice? Because, people will search and try and do anything. Are you getting approached by other players, and do you help them when they come to you?
I have in the past been approached, and I have helped a few guys, and I'm probably not going to do it so much anymore because these are guys I'm trying to beat, and
yeah,
I'll help a buddy every now and then. I'm really, like you said, I'm really good buddies with Ben Coles, and sometimes he'll ask me if he sees anything or take a look, or I'll help him a little bit. He's even done the same for me. And we just have putting contests, and we see the greens really similarly. We both use a line on the ball. Like we even played Zurich, and like you'd line it up. It's funny. I line it up, and it can look at your, call it, you line it up at the spot you want to line it up at, and it looks good from behind. And you stand up over it, and you're like, that just feels like a click low. I'm just gonna click it a touch higher. Like we use this lingo where like, and so when we have these putting contests, they're like, I see him lining up a putt. Usually we'll do like 10 holes alternating picks. So like he picks the first hole, I pick the second hole. So we're each getting 5 reads, and we're each showing the other one 5 reads. And so you can get a good gauge like, oh, okay, I like where he's lining this up. Or after he hits it, like, yeah, I kind of felt like you're aimed too high. It's a good test of, green reading, how you're seeing the greens, how the greens are rolling. It's a good mix because you're seeing how the putt is rolling. You're seeing how you would play it. And then the other way around, you're being the guinea pig. It's, how well are you seeing it from over top of it as opposed to behind it?
I love that. People helping people. It's a beautiful thing.
Have you given advice to anyone that you've ever regretted immediately after because they started filling it up? And you're like, damn, why did I help that guy?
No comment.
Oh, nice.
I like that.
Okay.
One last question before we get to the E9 here. I would ask because you played on the World Amateur team and I believe the Walker Cup team with Bryson DeChambeau. Okay, so you've known him for quite some time. Did you ever think Bryson would turn into what he is today, this whole content king, the YouTube sensation, obviously a hell of a player, but did you ever see like this personality back in the amateur days?
Not quite this personality. I always felt like, Bryson's an interesting cat. He started this whole, one angle, one length thing. And like when we were in Japan for the World Am, the Japanese media was like, just ate Bryson up. They were all about his clubs, like always photographing his clubs. It was me, Bryson, and Bo Hostler. It felt like, Bryson was the king and we were like his jesters or something. Like like all the attention was around him and we were just there along for the ride. So I could sense that it could blossom into this. I didn't ever see it getting this big for him. But it's awesome. I mean, it's obviously he's got a huge following. It seems like he's shifted a little bit. It seems like, people at a time maybe didn't disagree with him or maybe didn't like him. And it seems like more and more people now are, kind of like him, root for him, cheer for him. So it's cool to see. I mean, he's playing some great golf. It's not that easy to do what he's done where, you play these live events, 3 rounds, shotgun, totally different format. And then you just hop into a major championship scene and contend to, he won a major and almost won another one last year. It's pretty impressive.
For sure.
Yep. He's been damn good. Last one for me before we go to E9. You got another trip to the Masters coming up. I believe last year was your debut. Are we going on any scouting trips? How many do you take when you go out there? And how do you feel about that golf course just being like we talked about earlier? The big, hard, long golf courses, you seem to play great, and there's no place where there's more of an emphasis on putting than Augusta.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that place. I think it's a place that I can definitely play well at. Just with the sheer imagination, the different slopes you get on the approach shots. You got to be creative. You got to be able to shape your ball a little bit. You got to control your spin. Last year, I played it 4 times prior to the tournament week. This year, I think I'm just going to do 1 trip and play it, 2 times back-to-back days. It was cool doing that last year, but the course was a little soft when I played it the first few times. And then it started to kind of, my second trip, it started to get a little firmer. And then tournament week, it's so different. The greens are just so much firmer and faster. All the chip shots that I hit in the previous rounds, like they changed so much. So I don't think I'm going to play as many times. I think I'm just going to go there and play it twice just to get a look and a feel and maybe not be so obsessed with hitting all the shots around the greens just because they change so much. And it's crazy. I've never played a place where like you can be a yard or two away off the green. Like you can be a yard here or a yard there, and that chip shot changes so much with the angle and the slope and how much green you have to play with and the type of spin you need to put on a chip shot just from like a yard or two away. It's just it's crazy. It's like I can see so many shots, which is why I like it. And I played well. I mean, I finished 45th there last year. I think I had a terrible. I think I shot like 43 or 4 on the back nine on Saturday. I played really tough, and I just let it get away from me on Saturday a little bit. But coming off San Antonio, it was tough. I had, obviously in contention, lost in the playoff in San Antonio. And then my first Masters, I was like, those 2 weeks felt like 4 weeks in 2 weeks. And I did not want to go play golf in Hilton Head after that. But so it was good to kind of get that first experience out of the way. And, I'll be more prepared for it this time around. But yeah, I mean, that place is heaven on earth. I'm really looking forward to going back.
Yep, it's the best week of the year.
Here.
Yep,
it's coming up.
Here. Less than 50 days away.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to the E9 here. 9 fun ones with Denny McCarthy. You can be anybody else for a day. Anyone over the history of time, who would you be?
Arnold Palmer.
Okay, I like it. Like younger Arnold Palmer back when, he's having a little good time?
Yeah, smoking darts, looking good.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with the younger Arnold Palmer.
Okay,
yeah,
prime that.
Prime Arnie be a lot of good days. I would
assume. Or Michael Jordan in a game 6 or 7 of the finals. One of those two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also fun.
Also, Jordan, game 6.
Tyson, Jordan. Yeah. You got
it. Game 6 at Utah Jazz where he hits that cold just step back jumper.
You could go back in time and miss it. Maybe it changes things, for the Jazz fans.
Fun fact about that, by the way, Ryan Smith, who owns the Jazz and the Utah Hockey Club, he's a diehard Jazz fan forever. But when he bought the team, he changed the Wi-Fi password to Jordan pushed off.
Wow.
Yeah, no that is a sick flex.
They're over it. They've gotten past it up there in Salt Lake.
It does look like a little push off. Jordan claims he didn't push off in the last dance. He said his momentum was already going that way. Yep. He didn't need to push him. But he did kind of push him, didn't he?
Yeah. The Wi-Fi password is all time.
Go ahead and blow that whistle there, awesome. Ref, on MJ. That's good. All right. Put on your thinking cap here. You got to go back to the year 2007. Okay? Little tournament called the Bobby Gorin. Do you remember the name of the guy who beat you in the playoff? And how close were you to just giving up golf entirely after that?
Say that again. Bobby Gorin 2007. Do I remember the guy that beat me in the playoff?
In the playoff. Apparently it was a playoff. And you finished runner-up. Do you remember the name of the young man who clipped you?
A playoff, 2007.
I'll give you a 14. Hint. You also shared a hot Spanish teacher, apparently.
Oh, was it Wes Strang?
Yeah,
Wes Strang. We did share a hot Spanish teacher.
I heard that.
That's nice. That's nice to have a hot Spanish teacher. Yeah, we were texting him. I know he went to high school with you. We're giving some stuff. Like, ask him about 2007 Bobby Gore, and I was like, all right.
Wes. Yeah, I was gonna see him during Waste. It didn't end up working out. I think his kids got sick, and he ended up getting sick, and I didn't end up getting to see him. But good old Wesley.
He's a beauty.
He's a peach. A peach.
All right, next one. Which one of these has a better chance of happening? Okay, Steph Curry beating you in golf, or you beating him in a 3-point contest?
That's a really good question. That's a great question. I would love to shoot against him, so I'm gonna say that there's a better chance of me beating him in a 3-point contest, just so we can maybe try and make it happen.
Yep, Steph. He basically said your golf game sucks and you have no chance. That's what I took away from that.
I know he can play. I'd love to do both of them. I'd love to play a round of golf with him too. I watch him a lot. He's still must-watch TV for me. I love watching him play hoops.
He's my favorite, man. Nobody looks like they're enjoying their job more than Steph Curry.
Yeah, if you could make those shots.
And he's running around. he's running around like a maniac too. If you watch and you watch how much he's off the ball and how much he's running around, like I'd be exhausted if I had to guard him.
He's the man.
Running through 72 screens per play to catch it, shoot it.
Unreal.
All right, saw on your player bio here that you majored in anthropology at UVA. So my question to you is, what is anthropology?
I actually looked this up.
I actually did too. I thought it was dinosaurs.
The study. It's the study of that's part of it. That's there's archaeology is tied into.
There we go.
It's tied into anthropology. I'm kind of a savant. It's the study of other people, other cultures. I was going to be a psychology major until after my first year, they changed the requirements and I would have had to take Calc 1, Calc 2, and a stats class that apparently was a pain in the ass. And I just did not want to do that. So I had already taken the base courses for anthropology. And so I veered off and went that route. But yeah, my major was I was putting the eggs into the golf basket.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a good basket.
And
to
also,
be in.
you know way more about your major than Gary Woodland did because Gary Woodland knew nothing about sociology. So you're already one up on him there.
Okay, good. Perfect.
If Gary went to UVA, he'd only been eligible for a semester and he would have had to turn pro. So it would have been short-lived.
All right, next one. Do you think your caddy, Derek Smith, should have to pay interest on the $100 he's owed me since high school?
Yes. I think he should pay interest on that.
So one of his best buddies moved from Elk City, Oklahoma, down to Pilot Point. Derek comes down, we go out and play, and I drum his ass. And he said, "This is bullshit. It's your home course. I'm not paying."
No way.
Yep. Call him out on it. Derek, you stole me $100.
Boy, he's not gonna like us talking about that. He's gonna get a little butthurt about it. But I will make. I mean, you need to get paid your bet. A bet's a bet.
You're the boss, Denny.
Interest, inflation.
You basically owe me like $1.2 million.
Yep, that's what I had it just off rough math. 1-1.
Yep, if my calculations add up, that's about.
That guy over there is Seabass.
Yep. All right, sorry, Derek.
I'm gonna stay on Derek. I'm gonna fluff him a little bit. I'm gonna excuse the $100 debt that he has, and I talk about because he's one of the best caddy players out there. Okay, what other player caddy combo do you think would represent the biggest threat to you and Derek in an alternate shot format?
I'm going to go with Ben Coles and Brian Hughes because Brian Hughes is still a stick. There's a couple, man, I say that, but there's a couple of good options. Willie Wilcox has been playing golf like 3 times a day for the last year and a half. Every time I see his Instagram story, he's, flossing some seed down the fairway, bro. And so he's it could be Willie and Sungjae in a alternate shot. That would be a tough duo. So I'm gonna give you a top 3. How about that? I'm gonna go Ben Coles, Brian Hughes. I'm gonna go Sungjae and Willie, and I'm gonna go
there's a
Chris
lot.
Chris Kirk and Michael Cromie because I know Cromie's got a lot of confidence off of winning the event at the Phoenix Waste Management that you guys put on. So he's feeling confident right now. I like Cromie. He's funny.
Yeah, just think about a couple of teams you left out there. Colin Morikawa, JJ Jakovac, who can play.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Perkins had status with caddies for Sam Burns. I mean, there's some good squads out there.
Ellis.
Ellis is a lunatic.
Max and Joe. Ellis might be past his prime.
I know JJ talks about golf. I've never really seen him play golf. I didn't even know Travis played golf.
Yeah, he played on the Corn Ferry when I was out there.
I did not know that.
Yep.
All right, so we'll put them in the top 5. I gave you my top 3. You added a couple for the top 5.
This is another thing we need the exclusive on. The first ever player caddy tournament on the PGA Tour for a grizz load of money. Get it all sponsored up.
1 year at Zurich, I think they should make it real.
It'd be so sick. There's enough guys now that are like fresh out of college or college teammates that caddy for their boys, and they're good. It'd be fun. People would like that. I would, at least.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I would like that. We kind of did something. I think Gino Bonelli lined something up a couple years ago during Colonial that was a lot of fun. What's the place called? Shady Oaks?
Yeah.
Shady Oaks. It was we played like their short course or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of fun. We played. Derek and I got paired with JJ Spawn and Mark Karens. You guys
Oh,
know Karens?
Oh yeah.
I just played with him in the pro scratch out here. Good God.
He's a did he every shot he hit he just dropped to a knee and dropped the club and just all these antics after every shot.
He was doing the fucking fire drill, stop, drop, and roll. I mean, it was absurd.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. He was having some drinks and having a good time, and he was just like lacing 6-irons and like falling to the ground and like falling over, and there was just like a high draw right at the pin. I'm like, who is this guy? Who the hell is this guy?
He's a nut job. Side question, because I just thought of it, and I don't want to leave this out. You mentioned Shady Oaks. They got a shrine of Ben Hogan there. Whose shrine is bigger, Ben Hogan's at Shady Oaks or yours at Argyle Country Club?
I have a nice shrine at Argyle Country Club. I haven't seen Ben Hogan's at Shady Oaks, but Argyle is proud to represent me, and I'm proud to be a part of Argyle Country Club. That's my I call it the home of golf. That's the home of golf to me.
I love that.
I love that place. Shout out Argyle Country Club. You guys are amazing. I love that place.
I heard
it's such a fun course to play.
Yeah, I heard the shrine is impressive.
That's nice.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. This is kind of a serious one here. We mentioned you lost in 2 playoffs, Valero and Memorial. If you could go back and take one mulligan at either one, what shot would it be in what tournament?
I would say the tee shot in regulation on 18 instead of missing it and just in the left rough. I would have blown it anywhere right and take my chances drawing a lie, give myself an angle.
Which tournament? Valero?
At Memorial. Sorry. The tee shot in regulation, I drove it a yard or two into the left rough and had a terrible lie. I could easily say the chunked wedge shot in the playoff at Valero, but I don't. I would go with Memorial over tee shot in regulation over that.
Wasn't there something weird that happened on that wedge shot, like a bug or some?
Yeah,
I don't know if it was you or Derek or somebody telling me.
There was a bug that flew on my ball, like as I took it away, and I had been doing well with distractions. Like I'd been kind of changing shots as the wind like would gust or stop gusting throughout the week. Like that week was really gusty, and it would just gust and stop. And I was doing well all week, like almost changing my shot over the ball, essentially, if it was blowing hard or if it would lull off. And so the wind lulled there and a bug flew in my ball. Like as I took it back, it was probably just it was just kind of brain overload. It was maybe a little too much for me to handle.
Goddamn bug.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not gonna blame it on that because
I would.
It is what it is. I did a lot of cool things to get to that spot.
Yeah.
It was a boring tournament until I made a bunch of birdies in a row.
Just 7 in a row. What's 7 called?
Black-tailed ferret coming home. If you do it to finish off, that might even be something else.
You and Kevin Streelman.
Yep. That was a good run.
Yeah.
Okay, my last one here, Denny. I need to see. How would you rate Steve Marino as host on your official trip to UVA, and how the hell did you actually end up going there after that?
Boy, oh boy, that I was in school there. Coles had just graduated. I think that was my second year at UVA. Man, how'd you hear about this? This is a funny story. That was the first time I met Steve. We're out at bars, and he's got his buddy Kevin O'Connell. I don't know if you guys know Kevin O'Connell. He's kind of a crazy person. I love Kevin though, and they're with a couple other their boys that were at UVA at that time, and we're obviously having drinks. We're all pretty drunk, and Steve just goes, "Let me headbutt you." And I was like, no, I'm not going to let you headbutt me. He's like, dude, come on, we're boys. Boys headbutt each other. And I'm like, no, dude, you're not headbutting me. I'm not letting this happen. And he was like, here, I'll headbutt KO, Kevin O'Connell. He was like, I'll show you how light it's going to be. And he gives Kevin just like a little nod, just a little knock on the head. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm not doing this. He's like, dude, come on. Like, I got peer pressured into letting Steve Marino headbutt me. I'm like, fine, give me a headbutt. Steve takes my head and just clocks me, just front and center, just nails my head. I just go into a tailspin. Like immediately, I knew something wasn't right. My head was just throbbing. I ended up leaving. I had to leave shortly after. I'm like, I don't feel good. I went back. I remember throwing up some.
Jesus.
Sure enough, I go into like the medic the next day, or the UVA like medicine office, and I had a concussion. So my first ever concussion was from a headbutt from Steve Marino out at the bars. And
Steve,
I'm not letting him. I'm not going to let him. I love Steve. Steve's a beauty. He felt so bad the next day. We were playing like an alumni golf outing that I still showed up to, and he felt so bad. But yeah, note to self and note to others: don't let Steve Marino headbutt you.
God damn.
I'll write that down.
Yeah, he concussed the star player. He got a big melon too. Big boy.
Yeah. All right.
A side note, real quick. I also had Ernie Els tell me firsthand the story of him and Steve Marino. I'm sure you guys have heard the story about them flying back. Back from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ernie basically told me that they experienced every kind of emotion on that plane ride back from Japan, and that a co-pilot had to come back and break up a fight, and like the co-pilot came back, and Ernie basically had his foot on Steve's neck.
It's always a good story. There's a lot of versions of it, but I like it. All right, last one. You're down there in Jupiter. A lot of good games going on. Can you tell us about the one special one when you got invited to medalist by Justin Thomas and I think Rickie Fowler, and then you had a special fourth show up?
Yeah, I wasn't even really invited. I kind of crashed. But that's when I was a member at Medalist. I had been playing games. This was during COVID, and it was boring. There was nothing else to do, really. Like, golf courses were still open. Like, golf was the best thing to do. So I was playing games 3 or 4 times a week. I was playing with, like, Max Gracerman, Peter Uihlein, Matt Wolf. Like, we played – Bud Cauley got thrown in there, Olin Brown Jr. We got, some good games. Hugo Leone. I showed up there one day just kind of tired, didn't have a game lined up. I was just going to practice for a little bit, and I was like, this is boring. Like, I need to play a game or something to be out here. And I was about to leave, and JT and Rickie showed up, and they said that they were going to play shortly and that they hadn't played in a couple weeks. I was like, all right, well, if you guys are going to play, like, I'll come play with you if that's cool. And they were like, yeah, like, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's cool. Like, I didn't realize that they were playing with Tiger. They obviously knew that they were playing with Tiger. So they were kind of hesitant to let me play. I'm like, man, I thought, I was closer friends with them. But we started hitting balls on the range, and we're the only 3 on the range, and Tiger shows up, brings his bag out, and puts his bag right down next to my spot. And I'm like, holy shit, that's Tiger. And, all of them started. I said, hey, to Tiger, we talked for a minute. Start putting it together that basically they were planning on playing with Tiger. And I just, kind of invited myself into this group / game. And all of a sudden that tired feeling that I had of just practicing kind of, bored just immediately went away. And I was just like I just drank 10 cups of coffee or Red Bull. Like, I was literally like so nervous and jittery. It's the Tiger effect, right? Like, it's amazing how his presence just can do that. It still does it to me. He showed up on the putting green on Sunday at Torrey, and I talked to him for a couple minutes, and like, he's still the only guy. Like, everyone else I see now, I'm like used to seeing them, but like, it's like when you see Tiger, you're like, oh my gosh, like, that's Tiger. Like, Tiger's there.
Well, how did the round go? First time playing.
We didn't play a game, which I think, if we played a big money game, I probably would have been even more nervous. But those guys hadn't really been playing. JT and Rickie. Tiger had been. Tiger's game looked sharp. And so we played the Tiger tees. I was nervous as hell. I made 2 of the scratchiest pars ever. Like, should have been out of play, but found my ball, chipped out, and made 2 like good pars on the first couple holes. And then all of a sudden I just started hooping it. I think I stuffed it on 9, and I was like, man, what did I shoot on that side? I go back, I'm like, okay, I just shot 5 under through 9. Birdie 10, 11, 13. All of a sudden I'm 8 under through 13 playing with Tiger. I don't even know if they even realized it. We all had our own carts, and we played in like 2.5 hours. So we were kind of just like zipping around, playing a mess around round. And I think I ended up shooting 8 or 9 under, but it was just
That's sick.
I was so nervous. It was like a major championship tournament round for me. Like, is kind of what it felt like. I was like trying to subconsciously impress Tiger with my game, and I didn't do anything ball striking wise that would really impress him, but I just started hooping like 20, 30 footers all day. So I guess that was kind of impressive, but it was a hell of a day. I'll remember that forever.
That's awesome, man. Well, that's a really good story. We appreciate you coming on with us, my man, and congrats on all the success. I know that first win is coming. Keep it going, man. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, that was Denny McCarthy joining us on Golf Subpar. The man can absolutely roll the rock. That first win is coming, and I got a little text message right after we filmed this episode from his caddy, Derek Smith. I guess Denny talked to him, brought up the fact that he still owes me $100 from high school.
The that you have not let go of.
All I got was a text that said, "You're a dick," from Derek.
Eat shit. Yeah, you're right, Derek.
Sorry, Derek. I'm just trying to collect all my money.
The statute of limitations has run on that debt.
$1.2 million now.
That debt has expired. Yeah. But Denny, Derek, great player. Denny coming into his own. Like, it's cliche to say, but yeah, the win is 100% coming. The fact that he's doing it on these like enormous golf courses, which according to, him, even last year was like, yeah, this place doesn't suit me well. And then he top tens. He can do it on hard golf courses. I think the harder, the better. He just grinds it out. And that putter's just, it's a weapon. Just the same way like Rory's driver, those guys, Rahm, his putter changes everything.
Yeah. And Steph Curry, Gary Woodland, we need to get these little basketball matches set up. 3-point contest with Steph, followed by a round of golf. Gary, I just want to see him dummy you on the court.
We're gonna have to get Gary out of retirement, into the gym, set this thing up.
I like it. Well, that was a lot of fun. Thanks, Denny, for joining us live from Starbucks.
That was nice, too. There were some loud birds in the background. Thought we were at Augusta for a minute. Shout out to him, though. It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to have him on, and there we are. All right, before we wrap up, got to give a special thanks to our sponsors, Zone, the premier nicotine in all the land. 6 millis, 9 millis, whatever you like, whatever your flavor is, they've got it. But warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Underage sale is prohibited. Introducing Zone nicotine pouches, the perfect balance of unparalleled comfort, longer-lasting flavor, and nicotine that satisfies. Whether you're zoning in for an important putt or zoning out after a tough day at work, Zone gets you there faster and keeps you there longer. Available in 7 flavors and in 6 and 9 milligram strengths. Find Zone at zonepouches.com and retailers near you. Own your zone with Zone nicotine pouches. Get zoned in.
I love it. We are always zoned in here at Subpar. Hope everyone has a great week, and we'll talk to you on next week's Subpar.